How will real-time conversations with AI reshape how businesses operate and how customers react? We explore OpenAI's Realtime API, a new tool that enables instant human-like conversations with AI. We show its potential to transform online engagement from customer service to e-commerce and beyond. Let's accelerate your business. Welcome to the AI Accelerator for Business show, where you get the latest strategies, tactics, and information about the business benefits of artificial intelligence. My name is Carl Ye. I'm the Chief AI Officer at 0 to 60.ai, and I'm joined today always by my co-founder, Jeff Bradshaw. Today, we're talking about real-time AI conversations, specifically OpenAI's Real-Time API.
Carl, I think this is so important, and I think there's so many business executives that need to pay attention to this new development because it's going to unlock new opportunities for improving customer experiences, operational efficiencies, and data-driven decision-making across the board. And I think in such a new and fresh way that I think businesses need to pay attention to this and be prepared for it.
So before we get into the actual real-time AI conversation, I think we need to ground this on what we're actually talking about. So a couple of, in, I believe, May of this year, 2024, OpenAI released advanced voice mode. So here's an example of advanced voice mode, and it's real-time conversation. So previously there was a delay because it took it took some time to understand your voice, had to be transcribed and then sent to ChatGPT and then sent back in a voice. So obviously that took, I know, anywhere between 2 to 3 seconds. So it didn't sound like you're having a real conversation. But with the new advanced voice mode, it's actually one model. It doesn't have to go through all those steps. It's just actually conversation. So here's an example. I have it on my phone. Let's give it a shot. Okay, could you describe for me the city of Calgary, because we're in Calgary, but in a very thick Irish accent, as if you just got out of the water?
Aye, Calgary's a vibrant city, a mix of the Wild West and modern living, with festivals like the Stampede celebrating its cowboy spirit.
Okay, stop. I want you to do it in Spanish, but very frantic, as if someone's chasing you.
Vale, Calgary es una ciudad enorme y moderna, ubicada cerca de las montañas rocosas. Tiene rascacielos altísimos y muchos parques. Es famosa por el Stampede, una gran fiesta vaquera.
Okay, so that's what I mean by advanced mode. You can interrupt it, ask it to do in any language, most languages, and there's a lot of different uses. So if you've never heard of it, definitely go out, look it up. I also think it's now free for ChatGPT mobile on the mobile iOS. I'm not sure if it's on the Android yet, but yeah, if you don't have a subscription, it's mostly for OpenAI subscribers. That's where it was first released, but I think they just sent it out for free users. So that's what advanced voice mode is. There's also a version that I believe Meta has. So if you go to Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp, I believe it's not the same technology. I don't think it's at that level. And I know Microsoft Copilot has the same thing. So if you go to Copilot, just go to Microsoft Copilot. They have it on the free version, what used to be Bing Search. To take that a little further, what OpenAI did was release the real-time voice API, which is developers can now build on it. So what does that mean? So I'm going to show you an example of one developer that just did it within the first 3 or 4 days.
Hey, can you go to Suvla's website and order a black sheep sandwich?
I'm on Suvla's website now. Let me look for the option to order a black sheep sandwich. I didn't find an option to order directly from the homepage. Let me check the navigation menu for a way to access the menu or place an order. I found the order online link in the navigation menu. Let me proceed to place an order for the black sheep sandwich. We're now at the online ordering page for Suvla. It seems we need to find a nearby location to start the order. Could you please provide a city or zip code?
So Jeff, having heard advanced voice mode and the ability for what the developers can do, what does that kind of mean for businesses?
Well, I think it changes the way that people interact with your operations, and I think so often we've been trained over the past 20, 25 years to search for data and continue to search for it through websites and, clicks and links and pages and everything. And I think what this does is it totally shifts it in the way that people interact with your operations. So if you take a look at that example, I mean, here he is an individual able to order something off of a menu and place an order as if they're having a conversation with a human right in front of them, if they're standing in a retail location having a conversation with somebody behind a counter. So when you think about that and you think about so many other applications for this type of technology, I think businesses have to, stop and rethink the potential of this.
Yeah, I wanted to go to what's the current state of our business interactions right now, right? So you go to a website, mobile, desktop, you have to scroll, click through, navigate a bunch of sub menus, and all that kind of stuff to find what you're looking for. Same thing even with applications, right? So within an application, you have to go through their own type of menu. It's a little bit more focused, but you still have to go through it. I'm always thinking, and this is why I got really excited about the real-time voice API. And we all know within 3 to 6 months, all the other major AI labs will have this ability, give developers this ability. And then there's going to be a bunch of open source if I think there's a bunch of open source already. I'm very, very curious to see what the adoption would be when you're able to, let's say, walk down the street in your car, maybe on a bike ride, doing something else other than being in front of your screen and just having a conversation with a business. So what does your product do? What is the price? What am I getting out of it? And even let's say you purchase a product. Oh, this product doesn't work. All the things that the customer service, you'll have to, go to the either customer service bot, go through whether it's X on their socials, you have to type it in. But what if you can do this all through conversation? Now, I'm not saying you can do everything, right? There's still definitely applications where you still need to talk to a real person. But I would imagine the 60, 70, 80% of the most repetitive questions that people are wondering about a business, couldn't that be all run through a real-time voice conversation?
And I think that's an interesting thing. Like I had a couple of examples just in the last couple of days personally where I had a TV that stopped working and I had to phone an 800 number and get on the phone with a really nice gentleman from the Philippines. And he walked me through all of these steps. But if I could have had this app, if this, electronics company could have had something like this set up, I could have simply had a conversation through my phone to figure out and get to the steps that I needed to fix this TV within a matter of minutes. I also look at from a do-it-yourself type thing. I was looking to change oil in a quad that I had, and again, to be able to have a conversation of saying, "This is what I'm seeing. What do I need to do next?" And have a conversation like you've got that expert standing right beside you. That's what this technology is gonna, why it's gonna be a game changer.
I think there's to me there's so many different use cases, right? So we talked about the customer service, right? That's to me the number one thing is if you can have those conversations. And as a business, we've already built several text AI chatbots, but it's inevitable that it'll go to actual conversations, right? So like you said for yourself, you are old school type with one finger, I think. But if you can do it through voice, it'll be so much easier that let's say, for example, something breaks down or you have an issue with something, you don't need to be in front of your computer, right? Like I was saying, you can just be walking, say, hey, look, there's an issue with my computer. And we've seen the GPT-4o demo where, yes, we're talking about voice, but there is a vision component. So you can show, let's say, go back to your TV example, show the the company's AI, hey, this is specifically what is the problem, like, and then it would guide you. It's like, oh, have you connected this? Well, yes, it's here. Oh, have you done this? Yes, it's there. It's like, oh, so you can have like an actual interaction with the business with you, right beside you, and through voice and vision. But then there's other use cases like imagine employee training and onboarding, which takes a lot of time for a lot of companies. So imagine you can have that conversation. Maybe you can't replace it all, but if a new employee has a lot of questions, they can just, like we've talked about, build an AI bot, but now it's have that conversation with that. And it goes right to how about people in the field, right? So all these people, safety questions, something happens in the field, they can have that conversation.
It's like anytime you have a conversation, because I think about it as well. I've got animals. I had a sick horse last week and I'm trying to figure out. So I'm sitting out on my phone out in the field, typing in, these are the symptoms, this is what's going on. Whereas if I could just have a conversation and say, here's what I'm seeing, here's what's going on. Or if I've got a sick pet, or I've got a sick child, or a sick partner, there's so many different applications where you're just, or even if you're designing a home, like if you're renovating a home and you had questions of design tips, or is this possible? Is this, anytime you're having a conversation, or if you're planning to go on a trip, you're wanting to plan a trip and you're like, what are some of the highlights of visiting Portugal? You can have a conversation as opposed to, again, typing and having to search and try and find 20 different websites and links to be able to, which is the way we've been trained to do now.
So my question for the audience for this is, what part, if you're following the conversation and maybe some ideas came up, what part of your business could benefit from real-time voice interaction, and maybe some of the steps your business would take today? I'd really love it if you can send us some feedback in the comments below. So Jeff, in terms of this, I think the big question, and I think we'll tackle this in another episode too, is, in your opinion, from a company adoption, because that's always a big thing in terms of AI, how do you feel in terms of the adoption level, or how would we get companies to actually adopt this level of technology? Because there will be obviously some hesitation, some fears, just like we've seen with just regular AI chatbots. But what are your thoughts in terms of that kind of level of adoption?
You and I always have these conversations. I think that business leaders need to start to educate themselves on the basics of AI, and then be able to turn around and and it's less about the AI and it's more about taking a look at how your business operates and where some of those hurdles are, and maybe where some of the interactions with customers or employees or other stakeholders could be improved upon. And I think when you take a look at this type of technology with being able to have a conversation, I think then it's a matter of just identifying those opportunities within your organization. And then it's not, you don't have to flip a switch and jump on board and do it all tomorrow. But I think you need to start planning today so that you're ready for it. Whether it's 2 months down the road, 2 years down the road, you're kind of ready for this technology and ready to implement it into your operations. So it's really just it's about planning, and it's about education.
And I think, like, where we usually land with when we're talking about businesses is maybe start a very small pilot. We're not talking about something big. We're not talking putting this thing on your website, replacing your website, although we're definitely exploring that, because think about how interaction will change when people just need to have a conversation rather than, or giving them the option to have the conversation rather than explore your website. But it could be something very small. And let's say you have customer service. Why don't you hive off just a small piece? Or, let's go back to your TV example, just for this type of TV, or just 40-inch TVs, very small market. Let's just focus on that and have that pilot program, see what the uptake is, see where how customers interact with it. Because obviously it really depends on your business, and some businesses may not require or may not be ready, and it'll still be down the road from real-time voice conversations with their businesses, or maybe it's just a small fragment of it. But like, we always want to start with a small pilot, and then from there make your decision and judge to see if you need to scale it, change it, or maybe it just doesn't work for your business.
This is not going away. And I think that's what business leaders need to understand, is that this isn't just a little bit of a fad that we're saying, hey, try this out and it might work, it might not. I mean, this is the way of the future. It's just a matter of when. And I think that's why I think it's wise for business leaders to look into this. I just had a recent, situation where I was dealing with a large telco that I will leave unnamed, and I was using their chat feature to get tech support, and it was the worst experience ever. You type in a question, and 10 minutes later they would respond to you. It was just horrible. I was online for 90 minutes and got nowhere. Whereas if I had a trained AI voice that I could interact with and get the basic questions, I could have cut that, and then I could have dealt with the human aspect for the last 5 or 10 minutes. But I could have, saved myself an hour and a half by having a technology like this. So it's coming, and I think business executives just need to realize, and if you do have your head in the sand, take your head out of the sand and realize that this is coming. So that the time to start thinking about it is now.
Learn more about future AI business trends by watching these videos here. Enjoy today's episode and want to learn how AI can impact your business? Then please subscribe to this channel. We'll catch you next time.